What's going on, guys? This is part 2 of the video I did for the sulfur treatment. I'll get this thing to focus. I came back to this yard and I'm doing another application of sulfur, and this is what we got so far. It's actually greening up pretty good in the back, and we're at late February right now. So this is what everything's looking like, and I just want to give you a quick kind of look at what, you know, putting down sulfur can do. So it's actually greened up here pretty good. And then the back's actually done a lot better. I mean, it's pretty much green everywhere except for the middle here, and it's only late February, so I'm gonna presume by like middle of March, middle of April, this whole thing will be green. And I think it turned out pretty well. I'm here today. I'm just gonna treat these weeds, and I'm not gonna put a whole lot of pre-emergent down because this is a newly sodded yard, and I don't want to discourage any grass from spreading. So I'm gonna put a very small amount of prodiamine down, and there's really not a whole lot of problem that I see with crabgrass, so I think I'm gonna hold off on that. So today I'm just gonna treat the weeds, and I'm also gonna put down a little bit of fertilizer, not a whole lot, because we still might get some cold weather, but right now it's in the mid 70s, so I'll tune back in with you guys in just a minute. Alright guys, I'm going to add some atrazine. We've still got temps that are cold enough right now. And these bottles are really nice to keep your chemicals in, because otherwise you got to make a big mess when you go to fill your tank up. I'm going to try to do this with one hand, but you just unscrew that one side there. And let me cut. And this is 1 ounce per 1,000. So that's what I'm going to do now. And this yard is roughly 10,000 square feet, but I am not going to spray it like that because there's only weeds on maybe 5,000 square feet. So I'm going to make enough for about 5,000. See how easy that is? You don't have to have separate measuring cups and all that mess. Get you a few of these bottles and you'll be in good shape. I think you can get them on, I hate to say it, but Amazon. I mean, just about everything's Amazon nowadays. And then I'm also going to use some dimension, and I'm going to use just a little bit, so it's 0.5 ounces per 1,000. So I'm just going to use about 2 ounces of that. And that's it. I'm also going to add in just a tad bit of fertilizer. That's what I got here. And you want to make sure you shake your stuff, because it'll get, you know, it's fertilizers especially, they'll settle over time. So you want to kind of see how it fills up like that. Makes it so much easier to measure and apply chemicals, and without getting crap, you know, all over your hands. Just be careful when you go to dump this in. take your time when it comes to mixing chemicals and all that jazz, because this stuff is, you know, toxic. So it's no joke, you know. It's like you get this stuff on you, and you know, when you're 50, turns out you have some crazy form of cancer. So just be careful. And that'll do that. So that's what I put in here. I put atrazine, dimension, humic acid, and some fertilizer, which is a 10-1-5. It's 10 parts nitrogen, 1 part phosphorus, 5 parts potassium, and I'm going to put that down right now. Make sure to give your stuff a good shake. You want to really agitate those chemicals and get everything nice and homogenized and blended together. Alright, here we go. I also did not use a surfactant. I normally do use a surfactant, but I just, when I use atrazine, it seems like I don't have to use it, and it works just as well. So especially when there's not a whole lot of weeds, I'm not trying to get, you know, the chemical to stick to the lawn too much. Also, this lawn does have Bermuda in it, and that's why I'm using atrazine, because it's predominantly centipede, and I'm trying to get rid of the Bermuda. Otherwise, I would use like MSM turf and maybe a mixture of dicamba and something like that. On the right side, I kind of went over it in a few spots a little more extensively, because there's like a clump of weeds, and that's what I meant. Like when you have weeds like that, instead of just blanketing the whole yard, I run like a half rate of chemical, and you know, I'll hit those, like I'll saturate those a little more, and then I'll saturate these a little more. Kind of like this. That way you don't have to hit the whole yard and stunt the yard, which will cause chlorosis, which is kind of like yellowing. Stuff like this, these big ass weeds. Just kind of hit the sides. Stuff like that. And really get that on there, because the middle of the yard, it's not that bad. Just go all along like that. Hit that one, all this stuff here in the corner. Nut sedge, Florida purslane. Some dandelions, looks like. Some of these weeds are already starting to die. That's what I usually like to do. I like to go around first, hit all the weeds, and kind of hit the big ones like this. Really get them good. You know, atrazine, I do believe it actually does translocate through the root system as well. So all that stuff that drips off will help in weed control as well. Whereas some weed controls are strictly foliage application. But to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of atrazine. It's an overused chemical, and I don't know about so much now, but I know before, like, I'd walk into Home Depot and that was like the only thing they sold down here in Florida would be atrazine. And it just didn't, it's like stopped working, it seemed like. And they, and they would have clearance items of atrazine, and they don't, people don't know, so they go and buy this atrazine stuff when it's 80 degrees outside, and it's not going to do anything, because that's not how it works. It doesn't, it's not effective once it reaches that temperature. So you can only spray it, I think it's up to 70 degrees, and it be effective. So, you kind of got to know what you're doing. You can't just pick a bottle off the shelf and expect it to kill weeds, even though it says it does. It might kill weeds in this situation, but you got to pretty much just read the label and you'll be good. But I know a lot of people don't read the labels. I know I didn't. Like when I first started treating my yard, I rarely read the label. I would just read like the front of the bottle, and it would say treats up to 5,000 square feet, and I'd be like, oh, okay, this yard's 5,000, so I'll use the whole bottle. But I never actually read like what temperature, what time of day, what to do with this, if that, how to treat these type of weeds, so that kind of thing. Yeah, I hit most of these big ones, and the rest of this is just little weeds. And there's some more big ones up here, but after that I'm just going to put the rest of this out uniformly over the rest of the lawn. Alright, there's a little guy right here. Let's get him. Where are you? Die. Die. Die, you stinking weeds. Hello? Oh. Always trying to sell me something. Always. Like, would you like to register to be our first ever contestant to win this new MasterCard? That's it. Everything's sprayed and put it all down, but be careful. Like, it's not windy today, but it's like every now and then we get a little gust of wind, and I was doing my last little bit right here, and a gust of wind hit me and a bunch of drift blew back onto my face here, and it's just be careful, man, because like I said, everyone talks about Roundup, but most of us lawn care guys, we probably use more like alternative chemicals other than Roundup, and I'm not sure how toxic those are. There's nothing, you can't find anything on the internet about them. Only thing you can find is Roundup, and I understand Roundup's more, it's extensively used, and that's why they talk about it, but we're around like other kinds of chemicals, insecticides, fungicides, herbicides, fertilizers, stuff like that. So I would like to kind of, if any of y'all knows of some good like articles on different chemicals and like studies they've done on them, leave it down below, and I'll check that out, because I can't find much about it. I found a bunch of stuff about Roundup, and atrazine is the only other one, but it seems like those two are like pretty big deals. And I know atrazine had a problem leaking into the water supply like early 2000s in Florida, so I know that's why it was on their radar, but other than that, it probably wouldn't even have been talked about. So let me know what you guys think, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Have a great day.